All right, just give me like 2 seconds. It's loading. All right, cool. So we're Good Money. We are live. We are ready to go. So let's get started. So what's up, everybody? Welcome to Free Throw Fridays. I'm Coach Kenya, and I'm here with Wayno. What's going on, Wayno?
What's going on, y'all? What's up, Kenya? What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? Hope y'all are staying safe. Staying out the way.
Staying out the way for sure. Yeah. It's a beautiful day here in New York. We just got hit with another 30 days of quarantine in New York City. So we're all here kind of like trying to cope with that. But we're excited to be here with everybody tonight. We have a very special guest / mentor on the free throw tonight. We have Buster Scher. Am I saying your last name right?
Some people say Scher, which I love. I actually like the sound of that better than how most people pronounce it, which is Scher.
Okay.
But I like both.
Awesome. Hey man, Scher is legendary, so it works out both ways.
So good stuff. So I'm very impressed with you because you're very young. And when I say very young, you're like, how old are you now? How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
19.
You're 19 years old, right? You've accomplished some pretty big things. You've built an amazing digital platform called Hoops Nation, which we'll let you tell us about. But you're very young. You created a multi-million-dollar, pretty much media platform from the jump at a very young age, which I am a lot older than you. I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but I have done none of that. So I am so interested to talk to you today.
Hey, Travis, can you mute yourself, please? Sorry.
And so is everybody else on the call. So tell us a little bit about yourself and Hoops Nation and how you use the love of basketball to create this platform for yourself.
Yeah, thank you. That was one hell of an intro. I appreciate it. And I've heard some pretty legendary things about yourself as well.
Oh.
So it kind of started when I realized that I wasn't going to be a point guard for the New York Knicks. And I realized that I was going to have to take an alternative route, but I wanted to follow the same passion. And I had to figure out ways to do that. Growing up, I always thought I was going to be a broadcaster. So after I left Brooklyn, because I was living in Brooklyn at the time up until my freshman year of high school, I moved to Connecticut. The high school that I went to had a radio station. And I started out by broadcasting girls junior varsity field hockey. And I was doing play-by-play for that on radio. And then slowly I worked my way up to doing some of the sports that I was more passionate about. But I always thought I was going to be a broadcaster until I started blogging on Facebook. And I was just talking originally about fantasy basketball. I was posting everything from that I thought people should know about the NBA from a fantasy basketball perspective. I probably did that for a year while I was doing the broadcasting. While I just started out, I probably grew 500 followers total over the course of a year. But eventually I decided to broaden it out a little bit. So I started an outlet called All NBA All Day. And that was the same thing as fantasy basketball, except it was covering the entirety of the NBA and just giving my thoughts. And I was able to now post highlights and memes and stuff like that on Facebook. And I was doing that for a few months and it did a lot better. I got probably about 20,000 followers in the first couple months of doing that. A lot of that had to do with the memes and highlights and content that I was doing there, a little bit bigger audience as well. And then Facebook launched a feature which perfectly coincided with the two things that I was doing. They launched Facebook Live. And Facebook Live was really great because I had gotten, a little bit more comfortable than I was doing broadcasting from the high school stuff. And I had an audience from the Facebook stuff, but they didn't actually allow, they just announced the feature. Nobody had it yet, but I found out that they were doing beta testing in, I think, an African country. So I changed my location on Facebook to being from there. And I was able to use the feature before any media companies were. So I started streaming, talking about the NBA, doing basketball Q&As as a 15-year-old with braces, like not the best look, but I did it. And I'm super glad I did it because I slowly got better and people started tuning in. And it got to the point where other pages started seeing it and they wanted me to do it for them. So I started going on these other pages and live streaming, doing the same thing. And they always asked if I wanted to get paid for it. And they wouldn't have paid me very much. They probably would pay me like $10 or whatever to do the live stream. But I always said no. And even though $10, to a 15-year-old is a lot, but I still said no, contingent that I was able to self-promote myself throughout the entire stream. So on all of these live streams that I was doing, I wasn't paid for a single one. I just pushed audiences over to this basketball all NBA all day. And then eventually after that was doing well, I decided to make a slightly bigger one called Hoops Nation, which not only covered the NBA, but it also didn't have the NBA's name in it, which is, I didn't know as a 15-year-old, but I learned that. And it covered all levels of basketball. So from the little kid getting dunked on to LeBron dunking on somebody to, AAU, whatever. That's what Hoops Nation was. And I grew it initially through the same stuff as All NBA All Day, but also pushing through these live streams. And then an amalgamation of all of a couple more years of that and jumping to other platforms and working with different people and doing more personal brand stuff. I'm kind of doing some of the stuff that I'm able to do today, but I'm definitely very grateful and just a big basketball fan at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, you're super humble too, because you're like people, like you've done stuff with like LeBron, like you've done stuff with a lot of big people. So you kind of say that very humbly. So that's quite impressive.
I'm still waiting to have LeBron on the podcast. He is not. I've never had any close interactions with them, but I've done stuff with the companies. Yeah.
Well, what's really dope is to see that you took initiative and you didn't really, where a lot of people might think in order to build that type of platform, you would have to have all types of ad dollars and capital to be invested. You kind of utilize like free platforms to kind of build yourself. So it's dope to see that you took initiative to make that happen. I mean, that's pretty much, a lot of the questions that we get here. Basically, it seems like, we have a lot of artists that come up on free throws and they always want to know, like, how can they get themselves going? How can they start? Where do they start at? And basically you gave a great one-on-one class as to, build traction. So I hope, if there's any artists in the room right now, you took down this information because that's intricate right there, alone.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm definitely a big believer that anybody can create an audience around anything. Mm-hmm. And I also believe, especially for youngsters, like taking advantage of the time that you don't have any overhead so that you can do some of the things that I was able to do because I didn't need any money. Like, right. I don't need shoes. I don't need anything. Like the fact that I was able to do that and put everything off for as long as possible. I think all high schoolers, kids in college, anybody who has that kind of opportunity should take advantage of that as well. But I also believe that anybody, no matter what, can create a big audience around anything.
Mm-hmm. That's great. That's great.
So let's talk about TikTok and then we'll get into the free throws because your TikTok account has over 3 million followers. And I think I want to say it's in the top 25 accounts overall of TikTok. So like, how did you do that? Because I'm still trying to figure out how to get TikTok to even work and understand the whole concept.
I don't know if it's top 25. I find that hard to believe, but I know it's top 10 for sports, which is cool because on that list, the only people in the top 10 that aren't big companies are me and one of my best friends. His name is Elliot, and above that, it's all 100+ person companies like ESPN, is owned by Disney, Bleacher Report, which is owned by Turner, House of Highlights, which is owned by Bleacher Report, which is owned by Turner. It's like, it's definitely fun. And I think more than anything, it goes to show that literally anybody, like I am far from, the most respected basketball player in the world, but I was able to, follow that and have fun doing it. So I really think, anybody can.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good stuff. Well, listen, thanks for sharing and thanks for being so humble and modest and making anyone feel like they can do it. Because I believe the same, that anybody can if they have an idea and they have passion. So we're going to get right into some of the free throws that are here today. There's somebody on the call, I was told, that had to jump off to go to work or something, and they couldn't stay on and they asked to go first. Are they on the call? Could you just raise your hand and let me know or unmute yourself? Otherwise, I'm going to keep it going. There was somebody who requested. Okay, so you snooze, you
Oh,
lose,
good.
right? So we're gonna go right into, is it Andrew? So unmute yourself, make sure you give us your Instagram handle and then your question.
Yeah, my name is Andrew, and you can follow me on Instagram at I am Drew XCV. And my question is, how do I create traction? I started a brand, which is right here on my shirt, the 95ers. I do a podcast on YouTube where I interview entrepreneurs and creatives in the city. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. And I was just trying to see, how do I create more traction to my page? How do I get people more attracted to the page as far as liking it and being more interested, you know?
Yeah. So first thing first, what I would say is if your podcast isn't video, make it video and audio. And then after you have that, I would cut clips of it. So after you do it, just go into iMovie, Premiere, whatever. You could set it directly to your phone and chop up clips there. And there are lots of really good apps that are able to do that. I would cut up a couple clips, like 4 to 5 per episode. I would send that to the guest who was on. So make sure they have like actual content that they can post, which then drives traffic back to you. And I would also send that around to pages that are posting similar stuff. So like any motivational pages or any entrepreneurship pages, stuff like that, especially that are in the area that you can, connect with, or you can connect with the owner of. I would send those out to there. I would make sure to tag anybody in the video that, this entrepreneur mentioned. Let's say the entrepreneur you're interviewing mentions, Mark Cuban investing in his business. Tag Mark. Dude's looking at his mentions all day. I can tell you that. Like you can reach literally anybody. And the other thing I would say is make sure you're just posting a ton on your page as well, and also different content, and also showing people like the behind the scenes stuff, like as much as possible. Like when you're recording, letting people know that, walking people through the step by step of how you got started, that kind of stuff, in correlation with putting out the actual content from it, I think would be really cool. And then I would also just go crazy on guest outreach. Like I would go to the top, DM everybody, reach out by email, like send them examples when you send it out. Look, like when you're trying to get a big guest, like see who you know in common, and like, or who you had in the episode that they work with. Oh, here's the episode. All right, cool. They instantly like you a lot more than like, hey, will you come on my podcast? Like that doesn't say very much. But those are a couple of things that I would do. And then for your brand as well, I would try to get it in the hands of people that you think matter for your brand. And then on top of that, what else would I do if I were you? Yeah, I would just spend a lot of time on other platforms as well, not just Instagram. I would chop things up to make sure that you're good on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Snapchat.
What about Patreon as well? I heard about people talking about Patreon. I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about Patreon until like you're really, 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 really big. Now I would focus on all the attention that's just flowing into that TikTok's giving away for free, because they're trying to grow their user base and make it more legit. So I'd focus on that. I would also put stuff out on LinkedIn. I think that's probably the most underrated platform out there, especially when you go out and look for sponsors for the show. I would make sure that you're posting and also for guests' sake. I would be pretty active on LinkedIn. But those are a couple of things that I would do.
Yeah, man, it sounds really good. Buster kind of, he gave you a great blueprint, as to do things. I would just tell you to make sure that you keep the brand first. Make sure that you keep the brand first and have a brand mission, a brand statement. We had a few people on here last week that were trying to get their podcast off the ground, and I told them, a lot of people were saying that they wanted to get like bigger names, to have on their podcast, and I told them like, some of the podcasts that I watch, I don't even know a lot of the names. One of them is Joe Rogan. I don't know a lot of the people that he has on. I just like really compelling conversation. So I would like emphasize on making sure that the conversation is like top notch. I think that the product always sells itself end of the day. And if you have, great conversation and you're talking about things that people are either learning from, like that's why the whole time I'm sitting here listening to Buster, I have nothing to say because I'm actually learning from him right now. So I think if you just create a way to have your platform create a space where the conversation is always something that you're not usually hearing, and you can look at your peers or look at who you might consider competition and interject yourself right there. That's a way to get it going. And like he said, like I think you should invest in ads as well.
Yeah, totally. And I think one of the favorite tweets that I've ever seen, somebody asked, I forget which comedian it was, but to be on the podcast, and they said no. But they said interview your mom. And I think that's a great point, because when you don't have you don't necessarily need a superstar guest, like you said. It just has to be somebody that you really care about, like, honestly. And that could be, LeBron. It also could be your mom. You want to make it entertaining.
Yeah, I just focus on a lot of people within the city. That's what I started doing. I just started getting people that's in the city that I know personally, that are doing entrepreneurship in Birmingham, and I just started gravitating towards them. And that's why I started with it first. I have actually doing an interview tomorrow with a girl that's from Birmingham, and so we're gonna do an episode tomorrow. So, like I said, just getting the small people first, the small magazine companies that are here in the city, hair salon people, things like that, just to start small and work my way up.
Word of mouth is always the best promotion too. So, make sure that, you find a unique way to make everybody share that. One of the ways I had built when I had a clothing brand, years ago, it was a place I did an in-store at, and they wanted 50% of my sales, but I knew that I needed to do this in-store there, but they wouldn't budge up to 50% of the sales. So what I did was I charged everybody a hashtag to get in. In order to get into my event, you had to take a picture in front of my step and repeat photo and hashtag, and that was the cover charge. You have to send something out on your social media. By the end of the night, I had so many impressions. I didn't even know what impressions were. I just had so many impressions. By the end of the night, I had people emailing me, and I had a ton of orders that I don't even know how I got them. So, you just got to find unique ways to make people share. But thank you, man. We really appreciate your question.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, what was the name of your podcast again?
It's called Us the 95ers, Hustle One-on-One.
That's a dope name.
It is.
Want to do it different, man. I use Roman numerals instead of like 9-5. So I just wanted to
right
set myself
Absolutely.
apart.
Dope.
Good. Well, we wish you well with that. That's good stuff.
100%.
Thank you.
Yes. So you're welcome to stick around if you want. We just ask that you mute yourself back. So we're gonna keep it going. So Ray, I'm gonna ask you to unmute yourself and give us your handle and your question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. A question is for Buster. And one of your episodes, you had said Facebook share button is the most powerful thing on social media. What did you mean by that? If you could emphasize.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And essentially what I mean by that is, out of like any engagement tool on any platform. So like Instagram would be, it's the same thing, a like, but it's called a heart. Or sharing to story is another thing, or sending in DM would be another thing. LinkedIn, same, like, comment, share. Twitter, like, retweet. Snapchat would just be to send to a friend. YouTube would be, there's like and comments, but they don't do anything to the actual algorithm to like push it to other people. Out of all of those buttons, the Facebook share button is the best, because it's the only one that makes it, that both shares to everyone else's feed and makes it really easy for them to repeat the cycle. So like, if I share a video on Facebook, it's now going to appear on all of my friends' feeds. And then they're all one click away from sharing it to all of their friends' feeds. Whereas Instagram, if you like shared to a story, it's multiple clicks away before they could actually share it to their story. Facebook is one click. I think a close second would probably be either the LinkedIn like or the Twitter retweet. The LinkedIn like is essentially the equivalent to a share. Like if I liked your post on LinkedIn, your post now appears on the feed of everybody that I'm connected with. And I think from a business standpoint, that's a super valuable tool once you realize that. I don't think a lot of people do, and that's why people think it's just for like getting jobs and stuff. But I have a good buddy who has 100,000 followers on LinkedIn, and he's gaining 1,000 or 2,000 followers every day, who are all business people. It's not like, you know, respectfully, it's not 13-year-old basketball fans, whom I love as well. But it's just a difference depending on what you're going for and the content you're putting out. But and then the Twitter retweet is close to the Facebook share. I just don't think it's as good because it's just that tweet appearing on your thing, not the entire, not like a larger post. And also Twitter, it's much harder to go viral at the same scale as you can on Facebook. Facebook virality is a whole other thing. Like you don't see Twitter videos with 100 million views. Facebook, you can get 1 billion views on a video, all through shares.
That was a really good question. I it's funny because I often thought, and I'm probably wrong, that Facebook was used to be a thing, and it seems like it's still a thing. So it's interesting to see that there's still a lot of viability there, because it seemed like it was a platform that kind of phased away, and then now it's, I don't know, maybe it always was. I'm learning how to use all this stuff. Like I'm more of an Instagram person than I am a Facebook person, but it's good to see that there's viability between each different platform.
For sure. And Facebook is really hard to grow on organically from zero right now. It used to be a lot easier, and that's probably why. But if you're able to convert an audience over to Facebook, or you're able to get a bunch of friends to share a video and that video is good enough for all your friends of friends to share it, Facebook is the best.
Interesting. Very interesting. Cool. So thank you for that really great question. That was good. So is it Live One Hero? Did I get it right?
Nah, you were close. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Is level?
Am I limited to just one question, or can it be something that's kind of relatable to all three?
Yeah, well, go ahead. Well, let's start with the one, and then we'll go from there.
All right. So I think this question might be directed more towards Wayno. So recently, I secured a management team. Sorry, I actually didn't introduce myself. So it's Level One Hero. My IG name is Level One Hero also. I'm a musician based in Toronto.
Okay.
So recently I secured a management team that actually manages Offset as well. They're in LA, called The Stoic. This is my first time working with the management team. I usually do everything independent, like my website, every type of getting a publicist, et cetera, et cetera. So I kind of want to know, what exactly should I want from my management team, and what should I expect them to be doing for me?
That's a very open-ended question, because it's pretty much infinite when you're an artist. I mean, for the most part, my pitch has always been to artists every time I wanted to manage somebody. If I can't do something for you that you can't do for yourself, then I shouldn't really be managing you, right? And that really entails with what I bring to the table. So, first off, if you're working with a management team, congratulations, first off, for securing a management situation like that. But secondly, if you're working with a management team that works with an artist like Offset, and I don't know you yet, but you definitely got something. But first and foremost, don't think that whatever that they're gonna do for another client, they're gonna do for you. Yeah. Each client that's signed to a management contract or a management team, is very distinctive to how they have to work you, and they kind of have to learn you in order to work you. So I think you should go into it with your expectations open. For the most part, you should just look at what they can handle logistically. That's what should be happening first and foremost. Like all the tedious stuff that kept you from just being an artist should be handed over to them. And then secondly, you should start looking at, what can they bring to the table for you? That might entail them having a relationship at DSPs and getting you different types of playlist and looks. That might entail, working with brands and getting you type of brand opportunities. That's why I said it's pretty much open-ended. But I think that, as an artist, you should write down 10 goals that you would like to achieve, and then just pass it along to them and just tell them hey, I know that this is not going to happen tomorrow, but I'm willing to work with you to make this happen. What can we happen? What can we make happen on a smaller scale to the larger scale? I don't think that there's any ambition that's too high. So I think that you write down the most accessible thing to the thing that's astronomically out of your world. Like that could be a Grammy at this point. But if you're saying that, you could just say, hey, how do we work towards getting that? A lot of people don't know that, there's a submission. It's a submission situation that goes to the Grammys. Not everybody who wins a Grammy has to be signed to a label. You have even to go platinum or gold, you need X amount of streams. How can we work on getting these streams bigger? So I just think, for the most part, just worry about logistics, but going forward, just think about what you would like to accomplish and give them time too. Management is a very thankless job and nobody really cares for managers. So just give them a little bit of time to work you.
Okay. I'm sorry. So one more question. I think I'm good. So this one is less open-ended. It's kind of more direct. So for one of my first big shows, I opened for 88 Glam and NAV, but I was never able to secure a show like that again. So I kind of want to find out how can I approach an agent without them having to see me perform live, because I have talked to agents in the past and they're always like, well, we want to see your stage legs because anyone can make music, but someone that performs is totally different. So I kind of wanted to understand, is there a way to maybe get them to want to come to a show? Like, how would I approach that situation?
So I'd say, first and foremost, like find an agent. A lot of agents, I feel like a lot of agents would make great A&Rs because most of the agents, they do the real digging. Like, a lot of A&Rs, they just look at research and say, okay, this algorithm is moving. All right, if he's doing this amount of streams, he can sell this much this week. If we put this much money behind it and playlist it, it'll get us our money back, right? But then you have the people who really that really take the old school approach and is like, yo, I believe in this kid's talent. An agency that I worked with that was like that was CAA. And the agent that I worked with at the time, she's no longer there. I think she's at Paradigm. But artists I was managing at the moment, they were just into the music so much. The kid wasn't really a great performer at that time, but we were able to grow him from our opening slot was our first show we ever did was opening $200 for an artist that was bigger than him in a 2,200 capacity venue to us getting shows for 20,000 to 25,000. So I think that you just gotta just do a little bit more networking, and maybe you could talk to your management team about that because management usually secures the booking agency. So and there's tons of them out there. I've worked with everybody from CAA to Paradigm to UTA. There's a few good ones. I like CAA a lot.
It was Paradigm that I was talking to at the time. Yeah.
Paradigm is really like they're good, but like it's really particular, man. It's like almost like finding a therapist. Like you got to find the one that's for you. You know what I mean? Like you can't just say, you can't listen to your friend and say, oh, this therapist is great for me, and then think that they're gonna do the same thing for you. You got to find that person that fits your palate. So just do a little bit of digging, you'll be good.
All right, man. Thank you.
No problem, brother.
Those are some great questions. So we're going to keep this moving along. So Hunter, Hunter's actually, he's a return free thrower. He's joining us again.
Yeah.
We're always happy to have you come back. So we appreciate you guys supporting us. So go ahead. What's your question?
Yeah, and for those that haven't, been on the pod before, my Instagram handle is Hunter_Dively, Diveley. And yeah, like you said, any opportunity I can get back on here and talk to you guys and learn something, I'll be here as many Fridays as you'll have me. So thank you, Kenya. Thank you, Wayne, for having me on. And Buster, thanks for talking a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey that you are on right now. But my first question is for Wayno. It's more of a management question, similar to the previous. So when you're managing an artist and you're trying to get them to sign a contract with a record, like a record label, what are some negotiating strategies that you have before you go into the room, and what's the preparation look like before you sit down with that artist and the label and sign that contract?
So I'll say, and I could take something from what Buster said a little bit earlier. It's about leveraging. I mean, if you listen to his journey and his story, a lot of what he's built has been upon leveraging himself, and putting in the work in order to have discussions. I'm pretty sure when a lot of the companies that probably wouldn't pay him no mind a couple of years ago, when they talking now, the discussions are pretty different now. Am I right, Buster?
You're right.
So what I will say is like in order to secure a contract, you just got to know where your artist is at as an artist. Everybody would love a ton of money, right? But the thing about getting contracts, is not about the money, it's about the terms, you know, because for the most part, I feel, you know, I'm not like a money chasing guy, and I don't knock the people who are, but I feel like, you know, that's the whole concept of what they taught us with the tortoise and the hare, right? Like, do something really fast and it can happen really quick for you and you'll be happy. But if you take a slow grind, you'll be more prepared. You know, I always say it's nobody's business to teach you business. What you should do whenever you walk into a building and you have an artist, always understand that the building believes that they have the advantage on you. And I'm telling you this because I work in a building. They believe that their information and their knowledge supersedes what you may know or who you may know when it comes to them negotiating a contract. And nothing tells a person what they think about you like black and white. You know, when they show you that paperwork and they say, hey, how about, you know, 100,000? For a lot of people, you might say, oh man, 100,000, we never seen $100,000 in our life. Yo, let's do this tomorrow. All right, cool. What do I have to give you for that 100,000? They're not giving you 100,000 because you're their friend. They're giving you 100,000 because they're trying to invest that money in you and they want an ROI. So, first and foremost, take as much time as you can to learn about the business. Build up as much as you can on your own. That gives you more leverage when you walk into a meeting. And also get a good lawyer. And you might have to go through about good 3 or 4 of them to find out what a good one is. But get a lawyer that's willing to fight for you. You know, get a lawyer that really believes in what you're doing, because lawyers, they're almost the same as labels. Like, you know, they're in it for their 5%, but get somebody who understands you as a manager and your artist as a brand, you know, and if you combine those things together, then you're unstoppable. But if you just walking in trying to get a fast buck, they're going to get you and they're going to know. It's like sharks that smell blood in the water. They're going to jump on you with no remorse, you know?
Yeah, you really have to do your homework and know your value. Like with any sale, you have to know your value, you have to know your worth, and you have to know what you're up against.
Absolutely.
And to expand on that, so what, just off the top of the head, what are some highlights in a contract that you think are most important for an artist, for a manager to know before they even get to the contract phase? Because I heard you've
go ahead.
I've heard you talked about you know, royalties and, you know, longevity and, you know, money up front, you know, the ROI, how much they're going to owe, how many contracts you have to, I mean, how many projects you have to put up. So.
All right, so you want to put yourself in a position where like you're pretty much in a driver's seat, and then you got to ask yourself, what does the label require from me? They require you to record, right? So you got to think about how this contract works for you. Your recording budget, right? They're going to say, hey, you know, we want you to record at, you know, we want to get you with the best writers, the best producers, and this and that and the third, and that's all well and that's all cool, but do you need to be in those settings all the time in order for you to create? I think that investing in a studio is good, because investing in studios, when you have more leverage, you could just pay yourself. You basically go in and say, all right, we record, like if they love your music so much, we record our own music, so you can just pay us the same money that you're going to pay to put us in this big crazy studio downtown or North Hollywood, to have us spending all of this ridiculous amounts of money for us to give basically the same product. Or you can leverage it and say, hey, listen, I'm open to working in these different studios or places, but we like to record our own way. So how about you work out, your production company gets to take out a small piece of the chunk, right? That's one part. Then you also have like ancillary. That's a word that people never pay too much attention to. So people always say, you know, what's ancillary income? Ancillary income is everything outside of the music. What's very important that you have to learn about that is that ancillary income doesn't count to what they advance you. So if you're an artist that, you know, even though music might be a strong point for you, because that's what got you in the door, but you're like a creative, like a Virgil, and you make Off-White and you sign an ancillary contract, you sign something that gives the company pieces of your ancillary money. That means if you create Off-White, they want money from it, and it's not counting back to the money you owe them. So essentially, you're just paying them to be in business with you when you might have not needed their support for you to build that part of your company. So you want to make sure that, you know, if you're gonna do merch and stuff like that, make sure you're doing your own merch before you walk in the door. Make sure that you're like the only thing that you really need, that you're really gonna want from a label, is to say, hey, we need radio and we need playlisting and we need marketing. You know, those are the most intricate parts. like Buster said, you know, he was turning down money to do his IG lives just to build himself up. You might want to turn down an advance and say, yo, y'all was gonna pay me 200,000 in advance money. How about you just give me 50 and put the rest of it towards marketing? Because that marketing spend is gonna fuel more sales for you if it's spent correctly.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And you just have to do your homework and understand what all is going to go into that. And before you even get in there, you just need to make sure you're set up that to where you're not going to be taken advantage of, but you'll just propel forward, making that contract. Thank you so much, Wayno. And Kenya, if I may ask Buster a quick question as well about just his journey, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Buster. So it is awesome to see what you're doing at age of 19. Being that young, like you should have gotten eyes at you by a lot of older people who think you may not have that experience. So like what's a tip for a lot of young entrepreneurs starting off to just overcome that age gap and really, you know, show your worth and, you know, make people understand no matter the age, the value that you bring doesn't really count on how old you are or how young you are.
Yeah, totally. I'll say two things. One is a story, but the first thing I'll say is you just have to keep showing up, because usually what people expect out of kids or younger, like teenagers or whatever, is that they're going to try and they're going to fail and they're just going to stop doing it. If you show up every day and you're prepared and you're doing your thing and you're enjoying it, more importantly than anything, they're going to eventually take you seriously. It's just a matter of time. But as long as you take yourself seriously and you show up every day, you'll be good. And the second thing was my first meeting with the NBA. I was a sophomore. It was either sophomore or junior. I must have been a sophomore in high school because I had just moved to Connecticut. And I went into the city with my mom to take the first meeting. And we sat down, you know, at the NBA's New York headquarters. And we just talked for a little while. It was me and one of their people or whatever. And it was fine. You know, we went back. He had some notes that he was going to connect with his team on and whatnot. And then a couple weeks later, you know, he wanted to schedule the second meeting. And I decided, that I didn't want to go into the city again because at the time I wouldn't have gone without my mom. And I didn't think that was a great look for me. And second, I just didn't want him to think that I was too young. So my alternative to that was I was just going to hop on the phone with him. And I think that was one of the things that at least it didn't put my 14-year-old age, 15 or 16, whatever it was, in his face the entire time, so that he was able to just hear what I was saying. And then we ended up doing stuff together. And I've been working with the NBA since. So I think that that sometimes understanding the reality is important as well. And then, you know, choosing the thing that if you were in the other person's shoes would be easier for you, you know? But at the end of the day, showing up and loving what you're doing is the answer.
Yeah, just having that balance of realism but optimism at the same time. I totally agree with you. Just from you telling me that, you really do have a lot more grit than I'd say people 10, 15 years into the business that are 10, 15 years older than you. You know, and I kind of follow that same path too, just, you know, looking sharp, talking sharp, and just understanding my age. But, you know, I can't overcome that, and working hard every damn day is what I'm living by. So you're
gonna be really good, Hunter, man. We gonna stick by you along your journey too, man. You're gonna be good.
Oh yeah, thanks, brother.
Yeah,
well,
man,
I'm gonna have to sign off after this. My sister's graduating high school, so I'm hiding from the family for a little bit.
Oh man, so, congratulations, man.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, but
that's great.
I had to get on here. I can't miss a shot with y'all. So thank you very much, and I'll be sure to check the rest out. Thank you, Buster. Thank you, Kenya, and thank you, Wayno.
No
You're
problem,
welcome.
man.
Be well. All right, great.
Who we got next? Let's keep it going.
So we have Steven. Are you ready to go? I'm sorry, Travis. I'm going to go to Travis first because Travis was next. So you can unmute yourself and just give us your handle and your question.
How y'all doing? My name is Travis. Instagram name is Travis_straight_cash. Upcoming musician from Queens, New York. But I currently live out in the 757 area of Virginia Beach. Norfolk, Virginia Beach area. I just wanted to come on here and get some advice and, give some advice and also ask some questions towards Mr. Wayno, if y'all didn't mind. So, my question to you, my first question, as far as learning about the business and getting yourself more exposed out there, like, more exposure in front of people that have interest in music, how can you tell the difference when somebody is trying to actually work with you because you don't told them your story, you don't told them how much you know about the business and what you plan to do in the long run, versus somebody that's just trying to get a coin or get some money out of you?
You speaking in general or specifically for me?
Well, speaking situationally, like I have.
Well, all right. So look, so you got to understand something. Everybody wants to use, and everybody wants to be used in one way or another, and nobody wants to be useless, right? So, listen, most people that you come in contact with, whether they know the business or they don't, they want to make money. You know what I mean? Like they want to make money. People want to make money with you is not always it's not a bad thing, I think the lines get crossed and blurred where we take people's kindness and forget that they want to do business, and we expect a little bit we expect ourselves out of a lot of people. I think that's where we go wrong in a lot of these instances. But you don't really know, you really don't know anybody's intent. I mean, you don't really know anybody's what their mission is until their intent is questioned. And it's kind of hard to gauge a person's intent other than anything other than actions. Like a person's actions will show you their intent. So if a person is saying, yo, I want to be down with you, I want to do this with you, I think that you're dope, I think I can help, I think we can help each other, and you like, all right, cool, let's figure out how to rock. And they haven't really done much after that, and it's been a month or 2 months, and then you do something and they jump back on like, yo, man, what's good? Like, I told you I'm here, like whatever you need, then you kind of can gauge like where the intention is. It's like, okay, you want me to do the heavy lifting, and then you come along and just ride on the parade. You know what I mean? You want to be a part of the parade, which is cool, but you can do that with somebody else, not me. Now, sometimes you gotta give people the opportunity to show you, where the intent lies. And I think that, because we live in a time and an era where everything happens so rapidly, everything is going so quick, so fast, like at the click of a button, at the click of a share, it's kind of hard to gauge that, but you just got to have a little bit of patience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's a situational thing. I mean, I have certain friends in the business or whatever, who Ebe is over at Dreamville.
Yeah, very cool, that's brother. Me and know each other.
Yeah, that's my cousin's best friend. But going back to the situation, as far as people wanting to genuinely, be down with you now, it's not really like, it's just a situation where it's like, dang, how can I take this serious? So I'm not trying to downplay nobody or nothing. He's a good dude. Been talking to him for almost 3 years. But Meek Mill's nephew, I gave him, a certain amount, promo posts, regular stuff, business wise. And then he was like, well, also for this, we charge a certain amount. You can get 3-4 songs directly to my uncle, which is Meek. So I'm like, dang. He did the promo post. So it's like, I could take you serious a little bit, but now you escalating into something so much bigger.
So this is where I want a lot of artists to slow down at. You got to think. If Meek's nephew, right? Meek nephew, he's not known for music. He's just Meek's nephew. You know what I mean? Like, he's just Meek's nephew. Like, he has followers because he's Meek's nephew. And I'm going to tell you what he did. He leveraged who he was to get a payment from you. Mm-hmm. Like that's basically what he did. Now, if he's a music guy and people are actually checking his page for music, and he's known for doing IG lives where he's putting people on, he's listening to music on IG live, and he's spreading the word, then that's a good investment. That's not a good investment because, he's just like, you didn't even say his name. You just said Meek's nephew, right?
Yep.
So what you got to do is and Busta, I would like you to chime in because, while I know that you might not be a music guy, you do know promotion. So there's tons of ways that, guys can promote, guys and ladies as well can promote their music or promote their craft, artists specifically could promote their stuff without having to play that, let me pay the closest guy to the guy to get on. Because all Meek is gonna say is shit. My nephew took your money, what you want me to do? You know?
Honestly, what I would say, if like your dream or whatever is to work with Meek, I would check out like the sports pages that he follows and get it played in the background of all the highlights on their pages.
Mm.
Yeah.
The organic way.
Yeah, I mean, what I've been doing recently, you know, I invest, you know, a nice little portion of my money. I used to do it on Instagram ads, that blue promote button, but I actually tested and figured that, you know, that way it doesn't really target the audience as much as it should. So what I do now, I have my Facebook and my Instagram connected, and so I go on Facebook Ads Manager and I run an Instagram post through Facebook Ads Manager.
Good.
And it, you know, it leads to more engagement, more likes, more follows. When I wake up in the morning after a promotional post or whatever, you know, I'll spend like $25 a day for about 7-8 days, maybe 9-10, and I'll wake up and I'll see all these message requests. Oh man, this is fire! This is fire! So I would say, like, you know, as far as advice, Facebook Ads Manager, you know, it really gets the job done as far as trying to target an audience. You know, target overseas, target states, target cities, New York City, LA, Atlanta. You know, you never know who's gonna come in contact with your music.
Yeah.
But you know, man, I don't want to hog up too much of your session. But I just have one more question for you, my brother.
Okay.
So I'm an artist. Now I know my strengths and weaknesses right now. So my weakness is I'm not good off, you know, freestyling off the head. But my strength is my songwriting. You know, I can sit right here, you know, take an hour or two, write a great song, go in the studio, knock it out within 30 minutes, get it mixed and mastered. Everything's good. So right now, my strength, I have a whole bunch of unreleased music. I have 2 great songs on Apple Music right now, on Spotify, that I'm planning to market, you know, whenever I get my money together and stuff. But what would you know, as right now, I have over about probably 100 to 200 songs just sitting in my iPhone files. But, you know, should I be waiting to start doing music videos until I develop marketing plans for Spotify and Apple Music? Or should I do that before the music videos? Because, you know, if people are engaging with your music videos, you know, and they're feeling your story, they're feeling your pain and stuff, what you've been through, wouldn't that automatically direct them to, you know, want to download the song if they're feeling the visual?
I think you're having a quality control issue. And because you have such a high volume of music, you kind of don't know what to do. And
yeah, I'm overwhelmed. I'm like really overwhelmed at this point.
So the thing is, like, I'm just going off of your first statement. Like, I'm not a good freestyler off the head, but I write songs. You know, you got to think about being music business. The music business is not ran off of people freestyling off the head. So get that out the window, right?
Right.
I think that, you know, you should take the time to, out of all these 200 songs, just find the best 5, you know? People take music in small quantities now, in small doses, but if the quality is high and it's in a small dose, then that's what I have people calling you a GOAT the first time they hear you, right? So I think what you want to do is just take maybe 5 of those records, go through the 200, go through all of the 200, take about five out of those records, 5 of the best ones, right? And figure out how to make 2 really, really solid videos and come up with your marketing plan on how to market the videos along with the music and just go from there.
Okay. And, you know, I just wanted to give two more points of advice.
I'm sorry, brother. We got to keep it going. I'm sorry, man. We got to keep it going.
So what you can do is this: send us go in the chat, right? Go in the chat, send us the questions in the chat, and then we'll figure out a way to help you with your questions offline. Cool?
You know what we could do, Kenya? You know,
yeah.
And it's just light bulb just went off on my head. Send the questions and I'll answer them via the Wayno's Pod page, you know, on the story, on IG story.
Okay.
And send your at with them so that when I put them up, I'll at you, you know what I mean? And you can share it yourself, etc. But I'll do that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks,
No problem.
Travis.
Dope.
Thank you, Travis.
All right, cool. So, Steven.
Yes, hello?
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. How you doing?
Okay, great. So give us your handle and give us your question.
All right. My Instagram handle is @_Steve Saint, STEV Saint, SAINT.
And I have kind of like a 2-in-1 question, but I just want to probably just get straight to it because my phone is like dying. I don't want my phone to die. I'm in the middle of the call. So I just want to ask, well, this could be like whoever wants to answer. I make music. I've kind of been making music for a little while, but I've just been going through like life bumps and like financial bumps to being the reason like why I've been so hesitant to like put content out. So I kind of just want to know what a good way is to just get over the hump and just, put out things without being too worried about other things. And also, what are the best ways to go about my music career, like to start it off financially?
I say like you got to get you money is not the key, man. I mean, like you got to just take initiative. The songs that you're holding back, you might put out a song on SoundCloud with not the best artwork and it blows up overnight, or put it on TikTok, and you know what I mean, and people start doing dances to it, or if it's a lyrical song, people might start reciting the lyrics and create a wave from that, man. Don't overthink it. You know what I mean? You don't want to overthink it, under deliver. So don't think that you need money specifically to make things happen. Of course, money can help, but money is a tool. Any tool used incorrectly is going to hurt you. You know what I'm saying? So I think that you should just emphasize on just getting it out. You know what I mean? Get it out. And I think that like I was telling Trav, like once you get it off of yourself, you'll feel a little bit better. You know what I mean? Like you'll feel a little bit better. And you can also see what your audience wants from you. That's the beauty about social media today. You can get on and put something up, and whether they like it or not, you can get instant feedback. So I think you should start, engaging your artists. Engaging your fan base or your supporters one by one. It's not going to be 100 overnight. It can be, but you got to start somewhere. So I just think emphasize bit by bit, but don't get caught up on I ain't got this going on. I ain't got that going on. What should I do? Utilize these free platforms, man. Like right now, like we utilizing Zoom to be able to bring people together to have conversations so that you can see Buster's journey. You can hear about Travis. You can hear about, hold on, what's my other man? Because he was here before too. My man Ray Flores, he was here before too. You know what I mean? Like you can get a chance to engage, and we're doing this like off the muscle. We ain't got no budget to do this. We just Kenya, like me and Kenya, we just come up with ideas every week and just push them. So just take a couple of pages out of our book, man, and just push yourself. Don't be afraid.
Yeah, because paying attention. I'm sorry to cut you off, Buster. Just paying attention to like people that actually have a platform and actually like mean something to like other people, and like people like blue checks and famous people. Like I try to take notes and take a page out their notebook to see how I can utilize it for my own circumstances. Because obviously I'm not at their level. I'm not at their tier. So
what makes you not at their level? Because of a blue check? A blue check don't mean nothing, man.
I know.
It's a blue check, man.
Get verified. It's a blue check. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, what they're able to do and what I'm able to do. I know I'm not able to do what they can do.
What I want you to do is I just want you to build a little bit on your confidence, brother. Like just build a little bit on your confidence. I know sometimes you might see like a high follower count and you might get a little bit discouraged, or you say, oh man, that person might do a little faster than me. You just as capable as anybody else. Don't think that because somebody has more numbers than you at the moment that you can't achieve the same goals. So just work on your confidence. Start putting stuff out. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to be judged, man, because people are gonna judge you, But as long as you put yourself in a position where you're not holding yourself back, that's the most gratifying thing out of this all. Success is all about a feeling. It's not about a monetary. It's not about a number. It's not about a status. Success is about a feeling. So get that feeling. You know what I mean?
Totally. And one thing I would add to that as well, the way I always try to look at it is, imagine somebody who has $10 million to push whatever they're doing, but they're not as good as you. In the long run, if you put in the work, you will do 100 times better than they will.
Right.
Definitely. Most definitely, yeah. I definitely
hope y'all writing this down, man. Buster giving out game, man. I hope y'all writing this down.
He dropping gems right now, man. I'm definitely taking all of it in. I appreciate everybody on this call. I just want to say real quick, I'm not in it for the fame or how much I could gain from it. I'm in it till I could like change lives, impact my family. I'm from the Bronx. I'm from New York. I'm a minority, just right there, then and there. You get what I'm saying? I got a son that was just born not too long ago, so I just want to be able
Congrats,
to,
man.
you know, do things. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I just want to do things so, you know, he could be straight. He can have things that I never had. You know what I'm saying?
You will. You just gotta, like I said, man, just work on that. Like, and it's tough, man, because I was born and raised in the Bronx too. You know what I mean? It's tough. You know what I mean? Coming from there, just work on your confidence, man. That's something that nobody ever taught us how to do. But, you know, just start getting books, you know, self-assess, you know, build yourself, man. Like, you know, different than a building. The building's got to be built on a foundation. So just build on your foundation. Go from there. Your family gonna be straight. You got the mindset already, so your family gonna be straight.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Wayno. Thank you, Kenya. Thank you, Buster. I appreciate y'all. Have a good
Thank you,
weekend.
Steven. We appreciate you too.
Appreciate you too. Go charge your phone, man. Go charge that phone.
Yeah, man. I'm about to charge it right now, man. Thank you.
All right, man. Peace.
All right. So we have one more person. We have Kendall, who's been waiting patiently.
Kendall, you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, Kendall.
What up? So I got 2 questions.
Okay.
First question is, do you need a team to be, you know, successful, or you can be like independent and be by yourself and still do major things?
You said, do you need a team?
Yeah.
And to be successful? Yeah, I think that you definitely need the team. You know, I mean, honestly, man, just watch this this Last Dance documentary, this Michael Jordan documentary, man, and like, yeah, they talk. It's about Michael Jordan, and they talk about him a whole lot, but you see how intricate that team was. You know, from the coaching staff to the ownership, the front office, to you know, everybody that was around Mike. You know, the trainers, etc. You know, you definitely need a team if you want to be successful. A lot of people, you know, we would like to say that we do it on our own, but it's like, even for myself, man, you know, I'll tell you, like, the reason why I work with Kenya is because she's on point for a lot of things that I can't be on point for, you know. So I think that you definitely need a team around you to keep you sharp.
Yeah, and one thing I would add to that as well, I think you don't need a team to start trying, but your goal should always be to build a great team around you. Like, until super recently, for me, I didn't have any team. I did, you know, the first 25,000 posts on the Hoops Nation Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, all by myself. But then I realized, all right, I want to spend a lot of my time doing other things. So I started bringing in teams. So team is always the goal, because you will do way better with a team than a team that works, you know, really well together. But to try or to start, I don't think you need a team at all. I just think you need to find out what you want to do and go out and do it.
For sure. I would say too, like, the nice thing about having a team, it gives you an opportunity to staff your weaknesses, because we all don't know everything. So it's like, if you get people around you that know how to do the stuff you don't know how to do, it makes things move a little better, for sure. And it takes a lot of the pressure off of you feeling like you have to function in a role that you might not be passionate about, or you just might not have knowledge of.
Totally agree. What's your second question, Kendall?
How can I keep being consistent?
The way to be consistent is to just challenge yourself. See, you already saying, how can I be consistent, already lets me know that you're conscious of, like, you know, your weaknesses to your strengths. So to be consistent is just, you know, just challenging yourself, man. You know, if you have a goal set in mind, even the days that you feel like not doing it, or you might not reap the benefits from it right then and there, you got to push through. I always tell everybody this, man. The last thing to grow on a tree is the fruit. The last thing to grow on a tree is the fruit. Always keep that in mind. So it's like, you know, persistence, you know, persistence, making sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do, making sure that you're aware of the things that you need to do in order to get to where you go. That's how you get to your fruit.
Yeah, no, I really like that line. And definitely an additive to that, I would say, think about like what the biggest goals at the end of the tunnel are, and then segment those as small as humanly possible. Like, let's say your goal is to be, you know, the greatest basketball player ever. All right, like, try to be the greatest greatest player at your YMCA, and then, like, you know, slowly build up, and then build like the other things around it. So I would segment your big goals really, really, really small, and then just attack them one by one. Because I believe.
And I would just say just one final thing. Like, I'm a big visualization person. Like, I like to see and feel and figure out how it's gonna feel once I accomplish something, right? Because I feel like when you work towards what that feeling is gonna be, that's gonna be the thing that's gonna keep you consistent and keep you motivated, especially on those days where you're like, man, I don't really feel like doing this, you know, but just keeping the end result in mind and trying to figure out, like, and kind of see yourself in whatever it is you're trying to accomplish always keeps it going for you.
Right.
Thank y'all for giving me advice. I'll go follow me on Instagram at KP2179. And I forgot to mention I have my own brand series as well.
Well, can't hardly hear you. Sound pretty low.
It was hard to hear you a little bit, but I think you said your Instagram handle, and I think you said thank you, and you're welcome.
Yeah. And I just want, we just want everybody to know that, like, free throws might be once a week, but this is a lifetime thing we're building. We're building a community. You know what I mean? Like, everybody that, if you've been here once, you're more than welcome to come back. You're more than welcome to tell a friend. This is a judgment-free zone. We want everybody to connect, offline. If you feel like anybody that says something before you, if you can add to them. Like I was seeing my man, like Drew, I seen you talking about potentially having guests on. We had other people on. You see Travis on here. He's trying to do his thing with music. Ray, every time he comes on, he has great questions. Start connecting with each other. Start connecting with each other, because this is, like I said, this is a community that we're building. And always make sure y'all keep us up to date. If y'all follow Wayno's Pod on Instagram, come back, jump in the comments. Let us know what y'all doing. Let us know the progress.
Yeah, we want to keep up with you guys. We're here to support you along your journey.
Right. And Buster, man, thank you for real for taking the time out on a Friday.
Having you on. Like, I was really learning a lot today. So we appreciate you. And Wayno and I are gonna definitely pick your brain some more. So I will connect us all on a chat, and we would love to connect with you on the back end, because I think you're super smart, and we like to keep super smart people around us.
Let's keep it going.
That's the way to do it. Yeah, keep it going.
I learned a lot as well. Thank you guys.
All right,
for sure.
Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your Friday. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kenya.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you, everybody, for tuning into the Free Throw. We're here every single Friday at 6 o'clock. Please spread the word. If you know somebody who wants to be featured and has a question, and they want to, like Wayno said, be a part of this community, we welcome you to go to @Wayno's Pod and submit your question there, and follow us, share. We appreciate the love and everybody spreading the word about what we're doing. So have a wonderful weekend. We appreciate you. Be well, be blessed. And until next time.
Peace, y'all.